Inutu, and thank you so much for joining me. I have two special guests, and you're going to hear all about them. Remember, you will find information in the description box about this particular episode, as well as previous episodes, as well as, most importantly, my guests. All right, I'm going to hand it over to my two guests today. I'm super excited because this is new. I've never had two people at the same time for a Bulela Podcast interview. So I'm going to let them introduce themselves. Okay.
Okay. So my name is George Schinga, yes, and I'm the communications manager for COMACO, the company behind the brand It's Wild. And I think I'll quickly also as well introduce the other guest, Rebecca Snyder, who is our digital manager, media manager, to be specific. And we are happy to be part of this podcast.
Okay. All right, Rebecca, you want to say a little something as, a way of introducing yourself?
Yeah. As George mentioned, my name is Rebecca Snyder. I'm the digital media manager at COMACO. So, I get to kind of help tell our story to the world, whether it's Zambia or global, which is really exciting.
Okay, brilliant. So I ask this one question to all of my guests, yes? Are you a fan of Bulela Podcast? And if you are a fan or a listener or a viewer of Bulela Podcast, which one of all the episodes that I've put out is your favorite?
I think I can't remember which one it is specific, but I think it's honestly I can't really pinpoint one, but I definitely can say that I'm a fan, definitely.
Okay, nice save there. I put you on the spot, I know. But I'm hoping after we do this interview, at least you can say, my favorite episode from Bulela Podcast is the interview that we did together. Okay, so tell us, I know you briefly spoke in your introduction, you said who you represent and the It's Wild brand. I love your hat, by the way. Is well loved and well known, but then again, I'm speaking from a personal perspective. It's one of my favorite brands. I love your honey. I love your peanut butter. Oh my gosh. Anyways, so tell us what do you do? Where do you work? Where, speak to us as if you were speaking with Zambians or people who don't know about your brand. Sorry.
Yeah. So the company is Community Markets for Conservation. So what's very key in that name is that we work with the communities and we create markets for the communities, and then we practice conservation farming. And this conservation is just not in terms of agriculture, but it's also conservation of wildlife. And so our starting point, if I can just give like a background, is that we transform poachers and turn them into farmers. And then once they are farmers and we create this community of farmers, we then provide a market for our farmers to buy the crops that they produce, the surplus crops that they produce at a premium price. And then once we buy their crops, we turn them into high value food products that we sell across Zambia under the brand It's Wild. And the profits that we generate from the sale of It's Wild are then channeled back to the communities to reward their compliance to these local initiatives and conservation practices. So ideally, that's who we are. And when we talk about the It's Wild brand, there are several products that we have on the market. The It's Wild Chama rice, the It's Wild honey, the It's Wild yummy soy, and the one that's maybe popularly known is, the It's Wild peanut butter. And we just recently also launched a new product that combines cowpeas and soya and maize, which is called the Jumbo Combo. Oh. And I think that really gives it a basic about who we are and what we do.
Okay. All right. I mean, if I haven't said it already, I love the work. I love the work that you're doing. So when you DM'd me and approached me and asked to be a guest on my podcast, I was like, it's a straight up yes, because I love the work that you're doing. And Value Addition is a song, or something that I talk about either on my social media or privately, and especially when you tie it in with conservation. And I love the work that you're doing. I love the work that you're doing. So what communities are you based in? Because I imagine if you're pulling resources, raw products from different areas of Zambia to create your finished products for the brand under It's Wild, you're working in different communities. So could you tell us a little bit about the communities that you're working in?
So right now we're based in Eastern Province, Central Province, and part of Northern. So we work in almost all of the districts in Eastern Province. So Nimba, Patauke, Sinda, Katete, Kasanengwa, Mfue, Lundazi, Chama, all the way up. And then we've also got areas in Serenge and in Pika, correct? And then our biggest and newest area that we've kind of launched is over in Mumbwa and Iteji. So COMACO is kind of starting to branch out. But the most important thing to note about our operational areas is that you're going to find they always border the national parks. So in the east, we look at the Luangwa Valley, because when we started, that's where the problem was with poaching. And so now where we're at in Mumbwa and Iteji, it surrounds the Kapue National Park.
Ah, okay. Makes sense. It's good that you've mentioned the different areas that you work in. Another question I ask when I have the opportunity to speak to a Zambian business is, how many professionals, you don't have to give like the absolute exact numbers, but how many people are you working with or are employed under COMACO and It's Wild brand? I mean, yes. Could you tell us?
So in terms of our staff range, we have a range of about 250 COMACO staff.
Yes.
And this maybe something that we should probably make quite clear is the fact that we are a truly Zambian and indigenous company. So the majority of these staff are pure, truly Zambians. And then we also have we're working with 230,000 small-scale farmers in these areas that Rebecca talked about. And all these farmers have signed a conservation pledge to say that they are going to work with us from start to finish to make sure that we conserve our wildlife, we conserve our environment, and then we also we practice conservation farming in the way we do our agriculture. Mm-hmm. And maybe something that just to touch on, I know I don't know how this can relate, but Rebecca talked about how we border the national parks.
Yes,
I've had questions before where somebody would ask, like, why the elephant? Like, what's the connection between peanut butter and the elephant? What's the connection between between the elephant and rice? And the idea is that we are just trying to, our mission is to make sure that we conserve wildlife. And then what we're trying to do is to promote, we want nature and people to thrive together. So we're trying to make sure that we protect these ecosystems and all the different facets that are involved in this ecosystem coexist and work together. So that's why, maybe in a nutshell, would say why we have the elephant, because we're actually protecting wildlife.
Okay. I mean, I assume, like I said, again, I speak from a point of view of being a fan of your brand. So I assume it's obvious, but it's good. It's very nice. It's very nice that you've mentioned. So working with all of these different community groups, and you talked about thousands of small-scale farmers, a staff of 250. Roughly, what's the percentage of women working with you, or what's the percentage of women that you work with?
So when it comes to the amount of farmers that we work with, 52% of our farmers are actually female. So we have a higher population of women that we're working with, which we're really proud of. And then staff wise, I'm not 100% sure. Maybe George knows.
No, staff wise, I wouldn't have the exact number, but in addition to what Rebecca has talked about, we work with 100 and over 100 cooperatives, and these have been they've been organized in one cooperative federation.
Yeah.
And this federation of our farmers, the leadership of this cooperative is a very powerful woman, a powerful female farmer. And so to us, that just shows the type of importance that we attach to making sure that there's diversity in the way we do our work, and also the fact of gender inclusion and the like. So I think that adds to what Rebecca mentioned.
Okay. All right. I know. I love the 52%. This question is important for me precisely, first of all, because I'm a woman, and then personally and on my podcast, I'm always trying to champion the role of women in Zambian society. That's why I put you on the spot there, and I asked you that one. So I'm happy to know that when I purchase an It's Wild branded product, I'm helping support small scale farmers, and the farming cooperatives that you run that also have a good percentage of women working with you. Okay, so let's talk about your business model. Yeah, conservation is key and is fundamental, and you've mentioned a few new brands. How did you come up with the concept? How did you come to, okay, maybe if we make this, then maybe it will help us do this or achieve XYZ goal? How was the concept?
Yeah, I can take that one.
Good.
So in about 2003, our CEO and founder of the company, Dr. Dale Lewis, was working in some of the most rural areas, and he noticed, there is such a problem with poaching and poverty. And what came to find out about the fact is that, the reason poaching and poverty were so prevalent is the fact that there was no markets for these people to sell their crops. So what they could, in the way that they were growing it, they're using chemical fertilizers, they're depleting their fields, like there's no nutrients left. And so he came up with this model that, okay, so if we end up supplying the markets in these communities, and in reward, they're conserving the land, then we can kind of build off that, which is where the community markets for conservation comes. And so, he asked, though, okay, we're going to buy all these surplus crops, but what do I do with them? And which is where we decided to turn these into products. But the best thing about our It's Wild products is that because we're giving these farmers the education, and we're teaching them climate smart agriculture practices, and they're planting a tree called Gliricidia sepium, which replaces chemical fertilizer. So all the crops that we're purchasing, they're chemical free, they're pesticide free, they're all natural, which is not something that most companies are doing on the market in Zambia. And so it's just so cool to see that we've got this chain and this cycle that everybody's actually being rewarded for the hard work that they're putting in.
Okay. I love that you use the line, everyone is being rewarded, because I don't know if it's because of my age or what, but or because I'm a mother now, I don't know. I'm very conscious about what I eat, what I put into my body. So if from the point of, the agricultural start point, it's all clean, no chemicals. And then when it reaches my table, the less chemicals in it, the happier I am as a consumer. So let's talk about, your brand and your services, and how do you advertise? How do you reach, Zambians? I mean, you don't have to do any advertising with me because I know your brand, but how do you reach most other Zambians?
Of course, the traditional ways of putting ourselves out there. For a long time, we've basically tried to sell ourselves through word of mouth, and And because we pride ourselves in having a product that's quality and that people love, once you consume them, you know that by purchasing these products, you're actually supporting a rural farmer who's actually practicing climate smart agriculture. So we know that helps out. But then in addition to that, we are also through Rebecca's work, there's a lot of advertising and marketing that goes on digitally. So we have social media platforms, we have different like the Facebooks, the Twitters, and all these social media areas. We do what needs to be done to make sure that we tell the COMACO story and how it ties into the It's Wild brand, because our maybe goal is to make sure that people understand that the COMACO story is what brings the It's Wild brand, because you have the situation sometimes where people would know the It's Wild brand and they would not necessarily know the company that's behind it. And so that's one of the things that we try as much as possible to make sure that the two aspects are brought home. And in addition to that, we also do like in the past year, we've done radio advertising. We've done a COMACO radio show. We've been at Phoenix FM. We've had a show there this year. We've also had another show on Hot FM as well, and as well as TV advertising. We recently just concluded an advertising of an advert that was really building on what I've just talked about in terms of the COMACO story and how it ties to the It's Wild brand. So we had because sometimes we feel like it's not really important for us to be the ones that are talking, but we want you to hear from our farmers, because they are the ones that actually do much of the work, and they're the ones that show immense commitment to the work that we are trying to put forward. So we had a farmer that was really describing was in his field and describing what it is to be part of COMACO and what it means to be part of COMACO. And we feel like that's stronger coming from the actual farmer that really does the work. And so we do all these different activities, and of course sometimes we participate in exhibitions and also participate in a few corporate social responsibility activities where we sponsor a thing or two here and there. But at the moment, of course, limited resources here and there. We try as much as not to overstretch ourselves and just let the work speak for itself, and then the products as well to do the marketing for us. Because to be fair, and maybe it might seem like I'm saying this just because I am part of the brand, but to be fair, we really feel like we honestly do not have competitors, because our products are just incredible, and the story and the effort and commitment that we've put behind these products is just something that we feel stands the test of time and does the work for itself.
Okay, I love the last bit about we have no competitors, because it's hard to speak from how do you say, an objective point of view, because when I go to the supermarket, or the last time I was in the supermarket in Lusaka, if I wanted honey, it was just automatic. I didn't even have to look or check. I didn't even do price comparison. I just pick up. It's wild. I shared via DM. I shared a small reel that I made. I had the It's Wild honey, because to me, if I go to the supermarket, it doesn't make sense. The only thing that makes sense is to get, but also I think it comes down to packaging, branding, quality, also those things. As a customer, that's a review there. If you want a clip to talk about what customers say about your brand. Okay, so I love that you've said all of those things, and I think I recently started to follow you, but because I think I saw you sponsor an event or something with a Zambian musician. His name is Tia P, maybe? I might be confusing. Okay, so you did, okay, good. So I'm not crazy. I noticed because he's doing something called Street Lingo Launch. I might have the name mixed up, and I saw that you sponsored him, and I was like, oh my God, I meant to follow them, We have sort of like similar interests. I want you to quickly tell us where my listeners can find you, what supermarkets, or are you, like you have independent distributors? You can speak of the main ones, and then afterwards you can share with us where they can find you on social media. Okay.
So you can find our It's Wild products in all major retail stores across Zambia. So ShopRite, Pick and Pay, Choppies. If you're in Lusaka, Jambo and Melissa's, those are the big ones. And then across the Eastern province, we've also got our green market shops. So we've got in all the major districts, we've got a smaller shop that carries all of our products exclusively. So just those ones. And then we also have other retailers across the country, but those are the main ones. Okay. And then if you follow us on our social media, so we are on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and LinkedIn. We also post about the locations of our products where you can find us. And I can definitely be able to share our LinkedIn our handles with you. So if you want to share those on the podcast as well.
Definitely. I always insist. Sorry, George.
Sorry. In addition,
yes.
Can I also say something? Yeah. Rebecca mentioned the green market shops. One of the things that is impressive in my view about the green market shops is that we're trying to bring them as close to the farmers that actually produce, that actually are critical, are maybe more important to these products than they're more important. So what we've done with the green markets is that we have certain initiatives where I'll just give one initiative, for instance, that is known as Your Pima. So the Your Pima initiative is where you can walk into any green market in the East and walk in with if it's, for instance, I'll just give an example. If you walk in with your lunch bowl or something, and you want to buy rice or peanut butter or whatever, we can weigh it for you. We actually weigh it for you, and we sell it to you depending on the amount that you want to buy. So what this essentially means is that we're trying to make it as affordable as possible. So we get rid of, let's say, the packaging cost, so that we don't push that to the actual consumer, and the consumer who's the farmer that is in these areas that we work in. So I thought that was just something to add to what Rebecca mentioned.
Okay, no. Please. Yes, I love. I was what was I going to say? I was like, I always, first of all, on where to find you on social media, where to find you physically. I love that you've mentioned the green market shops, and you've given us, George, you've explained what the concept is behind them. And then I always insist my listeners, my viewers, check the description box so they can find you and check out your social media pages for themselves. I love your presence on Instagram, on Facebook, because I think, it's really nice that businesses and brands are realizing that the social media presence is key. And also, just as a segue to say, okay, being part of my podcast is really, really great, because it's a free opportunity for you to do free promotion for your brand, for your goods, and so on and so forth. So thank you for being part of Bulela Podcast. I'm not sending you away. If there's any last important element that you think my listeners and my viewers need to know about your brand, please use this opportunity to talk about it.
What we aim for as a company is that we have a healthy population, and at the end of the day. So you find that's why we are doing all these different things to make sure that our products are really natural and good for the consumer, which is the Zambian consumer. And so to us, that's very important, and we'll continue to make sure that we put in all the commitment required to make sure that we provide Zambians with a really nutritional and healthy product out there. And sorry, I just thought of something as well, and forgive me for this though. In a couple of months ago, we did a survey where we're trying to ask our farmers about our peanut butter.
Yes.
And through this survey, we discovered that the majority of our consumers love our peanut butter over any other brand of peanut butter. And then the reason why they love it, according to that survey that we did, is because of the taste of our peanut butter. And to us, that was very it was very encouraging to us because the amount of effort that we put in to make sure that we deliver the type of quality that is very important for the Zambian is actually something that the Zambian really appreciates. And it was a really good encouragement, and we remain appreciative to the Zambian community and the Zambian consumer for appreciating the effort that we're putting in this, and we'll continue to provide the type of quality that will beat everybody out there.
Okay.
And so in essence, I'm just trying to say we want to promote a healthy Zambia, and that's why we do this.
Okay. Good. This has been Bulela Podcast with Inutu and my two special guests. Remember to check the description box for info on where to find my guests and the It's Wild products and more information about COMACO.